Morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock in the morning in France. I know that. In Europe, and it's 9 o'clock in the evening here. I know that. And we had a sunny day on the water, and I'm red. You can see that. And we've got quite a few boats in. So last one this morning was Evrika, and not this morning, this afternoon, late this afternoon. And it was the longest live we've ever done. We were down there, and they were coming through. Beautiful sunny day. It was fantastic. But they were tacking all the way up the harbour, and it just took forever. It took an hour, so it was a very long live. But boat looked good. It was interesting to see them, and they were very happy. They were enjoying the experience. What was that? Okay. Yeah, but sleep is still becoming a short commodity, a very difficult commodity to get. Most of the team are now sleeping, but and I thought I was going to get a sleep after this, but the situation for Outlaw and Galliana with Secure is that they're catching up to each other and moving really fast when they're meant to be going slow, so they could be here in a few hours or whatever, but we'll look at that in a minute. We had Neptune come in, and that's been a bit of a saga because they came in, had to sit on the custom quarantine berth there overnight to wait until we could get to customs. They came down in the morning. Of course, we were set for a specific time and it wasn't happening, so there's a bit of a mix-up. So we haven't done the champagne with them yet. Tan and all the crew were really good. They were trying to get organised, but then, of course, Evrika turned up. We were going to do it at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Evrika was coming. We couldn't do that. We had to go out. It took forever. We're out in the water for about 3 hours or something. And so we still haven't done it. But anyway, we'll try and get that happening, the official champagne thing tomorrow sometime, subject to getting sleep. And that in itself is interesting because we thought it was going to be like 3 o'clock in the morning and blah, blah, but they're sped up and it might be around midnight or something, but we'll have a look right now. I don't think there's anything else to tell you. No, it's all sort of happening. Still haven't got all our other banners yet, but they're coming. So we'll go straight to the tracker now. Some people are turning up, plenty of people wanting merchandise, and we're starting to get thin on the ground with merchandise already some ways. But anyway, that's cool. So here we go. I come down onto this one. If I now press that, I'll pop up in the screen. And now I go on here. And there's Galliana and Outlaw. I don't really have to say much about that. Galliana has been on their hammer. And in fact, I think for a while they've been looking at each other. They did a tactical move and they're right behind them, trying to get past them. So it's going to be neck and neck. But before we get to that, we better go to the back end of the fleet. And as we do that, we will go past White Shadow, who's sitting up here in average conditions, but they're still moving at about 8.2 knots. So that's pretty good. And way over the other side, Explorer is just about to go past the Waypoint. And Sterner are not worrying about the Waypoint. So we sent them a message and said they should. They don't have to, but they should because it's a safety issue. They've got that message, but it very much here looks like they are bypassing that waypoint. Now, the idea of this waypoint, if we look back at and why is it there, and I can show you specifically what it's there for, is because the ice potentially can come up, hook up in the currents here and the wind and so on and come down. It's known the southern limit of the ice potential is around about here. Okay, so that's about where the southern limit, ice limit for growlers and bits and pieces comes into effect. It's around about here. So our waypoint is a little bit north of that, just a safety fudge factor. We were specifically asked the question. We told them, said, look, you don't have to because you're not in the rankings, so therefore we, can't penalise you anymore on that one. But we, we'd like to see you go around the waypoint because it is a safety factor. And there you go. They're way down here. So they're doing 6.8 knots. They're 47 degrees south. They're 47 degrees south, 102 degrees to the east. Romping along. They did a 159-mile day, and certainly by going down here, it is a shorter course as well, gets you around there. Anyway, Explorer, they're up above the waypoint, doing 8.1 knots, 195-mile day. We sent them a message today and said, get down. You need to get down to 45 in the next couple of days because you'll see here, if we start to push the weather through now, They'll miss that little high above them, but by the time we get to the 18th and then 19th, it's going to get a bit soft. Sterna's going to miss that, so they'll be down here and keep sailing, but Explorer's going to they'll be over here. They'll get hooked up in a bit of this, but they're still going to be sailing. By then, they should be down in 45 down here. It's 21, so it's 4 days up. So they should be running along down here, and they've got a reasonable breeze. So and then they're in the they're in the groove. They're back in the roaring 40s. There's no big storms coming for them, so that's good. And in terms of distance to the finish, it's a topic of discussion. We were talking to some of Ryder's family here in New Zealand. Ryder's the youngest guy in the fleet, only 17 years old, and he's on Explorer. He's our young guy. They're planning a few things, and yes, they could get here pretty early, but if we say 1,000 miles a week now, I'm just saying, they might be about 4 or 5 days before the restart. Let's hope so. Technically, they could get here earlier than that, but they've got to get through the Tasman yet. So anyway, it looks good for Explorer and also for Sterna. They're 3,463 miles to go and 3,147 for Explorer. Okay, put the weather back, and then we'll zip across the other side. And we've got White Shadow sitting out there doing 8.2 knots. And if we roll this weather forward, you can see they've got light and fluky, or a bit, not fluky, but just generally light breezes. They're doing 8.2 at the moment. And hang on, I'll go right back there. Yeah, so they've got a southerly, just a light southerly, be low seas, sun's probably shining, having a great time. And if we push it forward to the 18th, it starts to be a light southeaster, which will still get them around. And then they've got all this other light stuff and a bit headwind. So they've still got a few challenges left to get through. Distance from Cape Reinga is 316, so 2 days. So in a couple of days, 250-mile days, it's still going to be light headwinds. So it's not going to be a fast trip for them. No problems at all. But I can see from all of this, then they've got a northeasterly or an easterly. So it's going to be on the nose. So 21, yeah, they're just going to have a slow trip in, but no dramas. So much for White Shadow. We'll look forward to seeing them, but I'd say it's going to be 1, 2, 3, possibly as much as 4 days. So it's about the 21st, something like that. Okay, now for the fun part. Jeep has been interesting watching them. So Outlaw actually got around Cape Reinga way ahead of Galliana with Secure. And then if we look at their track, you can see what happened here. Well, you can't actually see it because it's mixed up with all the others. But for whatever reason, Outlaw decided to do a leg out and back, okay? And then Galliana, here she is, she just kept going dead straight and cut the corner a little bit, came inside, cut the corner a little bit, and now she's right there. And at one point, it was down to like only 5 miles behind. I'll go one more here so we can see the distance. Okay, distance to the finish for Tapio is 19 nautical miles, and this was at pretty much right now. So 19 miles to the finish, and Outlaw 17 miles to the finish. So they're only 2 miles behind each other. It's just getting dark here now, but they would have been looking at each other. So Galliana having a great time. They've got someone to hunt, and Outlaw are having a frustrating time because they're thinking, what are we going to do, guys? But here's the bad news. The speed for Outlaw has now gone back to 3.6 knots. Not so long ago, only half an hour ago, they were doing like 8.6, 8.1, 8.6 or something. And Galliana with Secure is still doing 6.9. So you can see the weather's very variable. At that rate, they'll catch up to them really quickly, but that's not going to happen because as soon as the breeze gets together with both of them, you'll see them both pick up. Now, this is our nightmare now because... okay, we can say here's Auckland down there. It's very hot and fluky, or not hot, but I mean very patchy and fluky. Windy is only showing sort of 6 knots all the way through here and even less in the harbour. So to try and work out an ETA and trying to go to sleep and then wake up again is just a nightmare because there's a huge difference, of course, if they're doing 8 knots versus doing 2 knots. And so you can't even try to go to sleep because it can all happen very quickly. Outlaw is now only 17 miles away. So they're doing 8 knots, it's 2 hours and they're in across the line. I mean, that's not going to happen. But you can't go to sleep. You just got to sit and wait. The rest of the crew are asleep. I'm the key to ring everyone and say, "Oh, right, let's go." And Colin, our driver of Tiri, he's watching what goes on. And so, what do you say? You say, "Okay, they could be there in 2 hours, but they probably won't be there for 4 hours." And it's now just after 9, so it's still looking like, I reckon, about 1 o'clock in the morning, but it could be earlier than that. So if you got the app on your phone, keep an eye on that. And we'll see what's going on. So statistics: Galliana with Secure currently 6.9 knots, did 150 nautical miles in the day, and Outlaw only did 138 nautical miles in the day. And there's the difference where they caught up, and all of that catch up has happened this afternoon. She's only doing 3.6, so it's going to be fun to see what happens. Sadly, they're now following both in the same course, so Galliana's right on the tail of Outlaw. If they had been doing something different, like inshore versus outshore, like they did before, there could be something different happening. But here it's a bit of a boat race now. It's just a drag race. They're both on the same course. It looks like they might have to do a little tack. Here's the course. The wind direction is not expected to change. They're going to get here, and so the distance of that tack, the distance of the tack is going to be, hang on, what's going on here? Okay, put 2 in there. So they're going to come down here, probably like this. And if they're really bold and they know exactly where they are, they'll stop about there. So that's part of it. There's 9 miles. This is extra miles they're going to have to do. So they're probably going to then come back like this to there, about there. So it's an extra 2.5 miles. So you're going to add 2.5 miles to their total finish. Then they might be able to come down here somewhere, maybe a little short tacking. So, and then when they get to the harbour, they're going to have to tack up the harbour, which can take an hour. So, yeah, for now, I'm going to be saying, jeepers, 3.6. You see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. So it could be 6 hours from now. So it could be 3 o'clock before we see him cross the finish line, or it could be midnight before we cross the finish line. That's all I can say. Righty-o. Does that make sense? Yes, I think so. So we're watching with great interest. So I've got to tell everyone, I won't even say anything yet. I'm just going to keep watching and see what happens. Not much more I can tell you. I'll push the weather up. You can hardly see the weather at this scale. So, but it's only in the next few hours. There's 1 hour. In fact, that looks as if, and even there, it's got lighter. So there's a lot less little speckles there. This is at 1:30. No, 1:30, 2:30. There's a lot less speckles. So if I go back the other way, you'll see the speckles get deeper. There it is. It's greener. And here it's getting lighter. And this could also be a factor. I'll explain that today in the live, that when Evrika was coming here, it's just a phenomena, at sunset, you always lose 30% of the breeze for an hour or so either side of sunset. And when there's been a pretty warm day in some parts with light winds, land heats up and the sea's still cool. You get this sort of land breeze, sea breeze effect come in, maybe take into effect. So it goes ghosting. I looked at the side just before it happened, and there's a distinct upper level cloud line that's now disappearing. It's clear blue sky behind, so it's really stable, and there's very little wind out here. We can see the flags on the top of the buildings and stuff, and there's less than 5 knots. So I think it's going to be another glamour night for us, and we'll look forward to seeing them both get through. Before we go back, I'll just check the leaderboard. Give us a bit of a time to sort out the official finish times. But here's the rankings where they stand right now. Line on is straightforward. You can see that stack up. We come through to IRC, and we'll see how many are relevant there. Triana, we haven't got the official finish time yet. It's Sunday, so it might take until it looks like it's going to take until tomorrow. I'm not sure why that's not shown up, because they've got the times there. Galliana with Secure, Pentuic is the spree to keep. Outlaw, Neptune, the ones in black, when you see the ones in black, they haven't been updated to the finish times. Okay, it's got to wait until it goes green. The greens are completed, but the black is still happening. But they're close. They're only seconds difference, but we have to wait until we put the proper seconds in. And here, so we've got translated 9 on 40 days, Triana on 48 19 minutes, 44 days, 8 hours, 19 minutes, and so many seconds now we've got there. So their position is not going to change. Just the thing is, so Triana will be second in IRC. Then you've got Spirit of Helsinki, only very little distance. Maiden. Then you've got Penjuic, and again with Galliana with Secure, we've got to wait until she finishes to see what happens there. And she's 45.18 versus 1. Not coming in any quicker on that. So I can't see anything changing there either. So Galliana's probably going to be sitting on 6th. The Speed of Creep. Evrika is going to be on 7th. There's 3. Yeah, Evrika. She's clear of Evrika. So these, an Outlaw 47. Yeah, there's no correction factors there. And they're over a few hours there. So what you're going to see there, right through to Neptune, and the others, I don't think anyone is going to change position there now. So that's the rankings. It's just the time that's there. So that'll be IRC positioning all the way through. And then when we get the whole thing finished, we'll combine the two, and there will be an overall. Jeepers! I just looked at that update. No, Outlaw's taken off again, and increased the gap between the two. So there's a new position coming now at 8:15. So Galliana, as we speak, is now slowed down to 4.9 knots. There's a puff of calm there, 4.9 knots. And now Outlaw is doing 6.4 knots. So you can see it's very fickle and fluky. Upgraded course, there's been a wind direction change there. So a bit more pressure for Outlaw versus Galliana. And that's how fickle it can be. And distances now, I could have done a distance thing. Still about 2 miles. About 2 miles difference, so very close. The good news is 2 miles. Oh boy, we're going to get both of them at the same time. And then we can go to bed. Hurry up. Okay, that's enough of that. So I'll come back to this one and put me there, and we'll see who's here. I'm not expecting many because there's only a few boats to follow. However, we've got a few people there. I've watched all the entrants arrive in Cape Town and Auckland. All I can say is that Maiden came in fast and furious compared to the others so far. Is Trow the smallest participating boat? Well, she came in fast and furious, certainly did, because she had good weather to come in fast and furious. If you don't have the wind, you can't be furious or fast. But yeah, Maiden looked really good, and all credit to them. Is Triana the smallest participating yacht? No, there's 2. She's a Swan 53, and also Sterner is a Swan 53. So there's 2. The smallest had been Godspeed, which was a Swan 51. Okay. Outlaw, on the way. Good morning from Plymouth, UK. That's it. So we will, keep you updated. But if you're watching for ETAs, just follow the tracker on your app on your phone, and we'll look forward to seeing them early hours of the morning. I think I'm going to put them in. Jeepers! Now that Outlaw's sped up, that means Galliana, it's just a soft patch there, and Galliana will do the same. So it's probably going to be about midnight or something. Anyway, see you soon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for that.